Hey everyone, I hope you guys have a wonderful week. I'm here just to explain, a couple of things regarding the Excel spreadsheet. So I want to start it off by how you're going to download your data analysis tool pack, right? So I'm going to share my screen right now so you can see how to do it. First of all, if you are running, your assignment on a PC, this is this is the right way to download that add-in or plugin, right? So you're gonna open up your Excel, right, your Microsoft Excel. There's this possibility of creating a new sheet, and you're gonna go over your menu on your left hand side, and there will be, at the bottom, of this menu, um, um, a button called options, right? It's gonna prompt another window, and in this window, you're gonna look for add-ins, okay? And you're gonna go and look for analysis to pack right here in analysis to pack VBA, okay? And by doing this, we're gonna click on go. After clicking on go, you're gonna prompt another window and you're gonna click on it on analysis to pack VPA, and you can hit OK. After hitting OK, your Excel is going to boot. It's going to reboot, and basically Excel is going to create, this data analysis to pack for you. All right. This is for PC. If you're running your assignment on a MacBook, this is a little bit different. So I'm going to show you from a notebook. Okay, just give me a second and I will share my screen again with my Excel. So here we are. I have, my statistical analysis example here, and I want to create, download actually this plugin. I'm sorry, my Excel is in Portuguese, but bear with me. I'm gonna translate it into the English Excel. So you're gonna look for at the top of your menu, there will be a couple of options like File, Edit, Exhibit, and Insert. Look for Insert, and in insert, there will be an option called supplements, and then obtain supplements. All right. And then it's gonna prompt a store, and you're gonna look for data analysis to pack. In my case, it's not appear because I already have it. So in your case, if you don't have it, it's gonna show you guys on your right hand side. Okay. So the thing is, if you're logged in into your Excel with your SDSU credentials, there might be a bit of a problem because our IT department has put some additional firewalls and requirements. So if it opens like you don't have access to a store or something like that, um, fear not, right? All you have to do is just logged out from your SDSU credentials and log back in into your personal email. And then you're gonna be able to download or add, this plugin into your Excel. All right. So that's how it works. After you downloaded it and your Excel being rebooted, I'm gonna show you how does the button look like. Just one second, I'm gonna reshare my screen, and here you have the Excel, right? So you're gonna look for data, and on the top of the menu, the second menu actually. So after looking for data, uh, it's gonna prompt all the options, and towards the right hand side, there will be, you know, a button called a data analysis toolpath. And then you hit this, and it's gonna pop up, all the options from, your guideline, right? From the Excel guideline that is in PDF. And here you have ANOVA, correlation, covariance, descriptive statistics, and so on and so forth. Doing that, you're gonna be able, to complete your assignment. And if you have any difficulties, please let me know. In any case, trying, to run a couple of examples just to have an idea what is actually uh, how is the how is the outcome and how you can perform it and how it is expected from you guys, right? So let me just cancel it. And I'm here on the statistical analysis spreadsheet. So you're going to see the first sheet. It's called data set. That's my original data set, my primary data set. So I have all my respondents, the continuous variable called age, and the attendance, and so many others, right? Sometimes we have so many variables to analyze that is often very sometimes can be very complicated, and that's why you do a code book. A code book is a way of having this, what you call a meta analysis, right? It gives you it facilitates you to go to a variable, see what were the options, how they answer, and exactly if it's demographics, if it's socioeconomics, and so on and so forth. So if I go to the next sheet, you're gonna find, the code book, and here it's really a self-explanatory code book. So you have, all my variables, categorized, according, to, questions. For example, it can run from 1 to 5, or yes or no when it's binary, or continuous if give them the option to do so. And here, if you see, we have a couple of examples, and running from race, gender, income, religion, demographics. And here, there are a couple of explanations with regards to your questionnaire, right? So you have age, you have attendance, education. Here's it's a summarize questions that you pose to your respondents. So basically, in my column D, you have something regarding education, level of education. So you've given, in this case, you've given the respondents the option, to run from first grade all the way to no answer. So this is a lot of categorization, right? And here you start, having your topic, your questions according to your topic. In this case, working mom can have just as warm relationship with a child versus mom who doesn't work. And some people would say strongly agree, up to strongly disagree, and have don't know, not applicable, and no answer. So we have this option. Sometimes you just want to condense them into just agree, disagree, and zero if some different answers. In this case, it's important to know when you analyze some kind of assumption, those who actually answer don't know, or no answer, or not applicable, we can sometimes, as a best practice, we manage to you know um, write them off from your database and analyze just those who answer yes or no, or agree or disagree. So this is way of cleaning up your data set. And there are a couple of other options. For example, income. We have so much range for income, but sometimes you want just to condense some of the variables, or you just want to expand them. It's just a way of interacting or actually cross-reference with your question. Sometimes it's easy just, to have them broken down, but sometimes it's easier to be more condensed and you can have a better, outlook. Sometimes that's the thing. When you condense some of the variables in a in a statistical point of view, you usually lose a little bit of information because you're managing just to compile them into one range, right? But in our case, since you have 25 respondents, it's good not to do so. Unless it's going to facilitate you, but usually for 25 respondents, it's good just to maintain, all your categories, right? And then you have others, demographics and other Likert scale too. So you can just explore a little bit from those. And here on my third sheet, there will be, a couple of hypotheses that I might be running, or you guys, in your case, you're going to be running, for your analysis. So this is a way of understanding a little bit better how to perform the hypothesis. So you have the null hypothesis here, that is your main research questions, and the alternate is the opposite of this, right? And the level of measurements, which is basically your categorization, and the other variable that you want to compare. For example, if you want to compare age versus level of income, then you need to pull it up and analyze both variables altogether, right? If there's any influence, in the level of education and age. In this case, for example, there's no difference between level of income and belief that men should work and women should stay home, right? So I'm comparing, you know, um, this affirmation, right? If people agree or disagree with that affirmation, and actually compare them with the level of income. I could have compared them with race or with age of any so many other demographics, so I could see if there's any type of difference or not for your analysis. So um, that said, let's crunch a little bit of the numbers here for your coding. I know sometimes Excel can be a little bit intense, so I'll try to make a little bit easier for you so you can understand all the guidelines and walk through it much more easily. Okay, so I'm gonna zoom out here my spreadsheet. Here I have my respondents on column A. On column B, I have age, right? Running, from the minimal age from my respondents to the maximal age from my respondents. So imagine that I want, to analyze only people from 18 years old to 24 years old, right? So when running through it, how many of those do I have, right? And I want to compare it, for example. Um, I'm gonna create another column here. So if you hit the column, in this case, column C, and you can insert, and doing insert, I'm gonna look for, basically in my initial page, I'm gonna look for insert and insert new column. So it's gonna pop up this option for you, and another column is gonna be created, right? So you can start coding your data set. So as I said, imagine that I'm interested only in the range 18 to 24, right? When you're trying to use if it's a logical function, so you want to say what is your criteria, and then if this criteria meets your requirements, then you can say yes, or you can say one, right? You're gonna say something binary, right? Otherwise, it's gonna be zero or it's gonna be no. Okay, so and if I am utilizing, for example, a range, I'm gonna have to tell, my Excel, my spreadsheet saying, look, what is this range, right? I want to include all the information from one point to the other, and this information is gonna be true. Otherwise, it's gonna be false. Okay, so let's give it a go. In order to do that, to perform this type of analysis, I'm gonna hit equal and if, right? I apologize, but my Excel again is in Portuguese, but I'll try to translate it. So when I say if, right, it's gonna pop up the function or the name of the function, and then I'm gonna open up with a parenthesis. By open up with a parenthesis, then they're gonna ask, what is my logical test? What I want to know, right? And then you're gonna see value if it's true and value if it's false, right? So what I'm gonna tell them is, well, imagine that I just want, people from whose age is 43 years old, okay? And I'm gonna say, I'm gonna create my logical test. I'm gonna go to the next column, that is age, column B. I'm gonna press column B, right? And imagine that I have to scroll down until up to the end of my data set, right? Um, how am I gonna do it in a more easy way? Excel give us the option, to lock some of the cells, right? So if you're only utilizing, column B, it means that, with respect to column B, every the column B is going to be locked, right? We're not going to range into columns. You're just going to range into lines, right? So what I could do is there is a money signal, that is called um, from, and I can basically create a lock number. So I'm gonna say, look, lock with that sign. I'm locking. You know what? I'm locking my column. Okay. So since I'm locking my column, I'm gonna free all the lines. So basically, I'm gonna go from 2 to 300 because I want to know each of, you know, each age, or basically which respondents have 43 years old, right? In this case, I'm gonna say, look, the first respondent is in column B, line two. So column B already locked. So line two, I'm gonna make it free so I don't have to lock them. And how am I gonna do it? I'm gonna go and hit equal sign because I want them to be equal to 43. So I'm gonna say, look, if it's equal with, if it equals to, if it is equal to 43, then I'm gonna say 1, which is yes, which is true. Otherwise, 0, which is false, right? And then I'm gonna finish with a final parenthesis, and I'm gonna hit return or enter. There you go. Oops, I have 43 here, so it gives me 1. I have in the next line, if I if I control C, control V, basically I'm copying and pasting into the next line, it's 74. So it's different from 43. So it gives me 0. And if I keep scrolling down all my information, then I'm gonna hit, oops, I have 1 here and I have 1 here, and the remaining 0. So until now, I have two people with age 43. Oh, that's fantastic. Now, imagine that I don't want 1 or 0. I want yes or no, right? So if it's yes or no, I'm just have to replace 1 by yes. But the thing is, we are replacing a number with a text. This text normally it's called a string, right? And text usually goes in codes. So Excel could understand this is a text, right? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go back to my function and go back to my logical test. I will maintain that uh, my age of 33 is true and otherwise is false. So instead of utilizing 1, I'm gonna place codes and gonna go for yes and then finish another code. And 0, the same. I'm gonna go codes with no, and I'm gonna close it off. My codes and hit enter. Oops. And then I have yes. And for the next line, if I copy and paste again, whoops, it's no, right? So then I can change and recategorize to yes or no, right? So we have those two options here. Okay, but imagine that I have more than two options in this case. Let's go to another variable from column age, which is Fafan. So let's look it up and see what is Fafan, right? So you're gonna go into the next sheet called our code book, and you're gonna look for that variable. So I'm gonna find this in my column F. So what is this variable about? It's about this affirmation. Much better if man is achiever outside home and woman takes care of home and family, right? So some people will strongly agree, disagree, strongly disagree, don't know, no answer, and not applicable. So let's condense all those categories into only agree, disagree, and others which will be 0. Okay, so we're gonna go back to our first, sheet, our data set, and let's do this. Let's code this. So here I have all the numbers that people actually hit it, right, when answering your surveys. And here I'm gonna code. Oops, this is a little bit intense, but let's break it down. Basically, what it's saying here is saying, look, if my column age equals 1, it means agree. So basically, I'm saying if my column age is agree or strongly agree, oh, basically it's agree, we're gonna say agree, right? And the true is gonna say agree, but the false, oops, the false I have a little bit more options, the remaining options. So I have 2, 3, 4, 5, and in 2, 3, and 4. I'm sorry. So if I have more options, then I'm gonna complete the task, right? So I'm gonna again say it. If my column age equals 2, my logical test, if it's true, it's gonna be agree. If it's different, oops, if it's different, then what are my remaining options? It's gonna be 3 and 4, right? Again, I'm gonna hit if, and if my column age equals 3, it's gonna be disagree because 3, 4 means disagree and strongly disagree. Okay, so it's gonna be disagree. Otherwise, it's gonna be something different. And what is the remaining different, right? It's gonna be number 4. So if my column equals 4, then I'm gonna hit disagree. So basically, what you're doing to this function is, well, if you find something that is 1 or 2, you're gonna say disagree. If you find something that is 3 or 4, you're gonna say disagree. But if there's 0 or any other that is different from, you know, from 1, 2, 3, 4, then Excel is gonna pull it up and say it's false. And if it's false, then you can actually write it off, right? You can just disregard this, right? And just maintaining people who agreed or people who disagreed, okay? Having entered, then I'm gonna have, my right answer, okay? So imagine that we still want to utilize 0. Okay, so basically, what could I do? I could just again, right? I could create another if, right, by the end of this, because I have, for example, I have if number 3 disagree and the false something else. If number 4 disagree, what is missing here? My other value. And I could just say, let's put it right off. And if I hit this, we still 3, it's gonna be disagree. And since I have 0 here, they're gonna change it for right off. Okay, if something is completely different from my specifications, then they're gonna create, this small phrase called write off. Okay, so this is how you usually code in Excel. All right. However, I want to go ahead and actually perform, a test with you guys, for example, and I want to compare, your fun against age, right? You're gonna see if your assumptions is valid, if age is being considered, right? So if I look for my worksheet, I can create another sheet called Fun Age to test that would facilitate your performance. And then in the first 3 columns, I'm gonna pull it up, all my respondents, the age of them, and their answers, according to that question. Okay. So how I'm gonna, uh, utilize this, right? What's the main, purpose of this? So I want to compare if people, from a certain age tends to be more agreeable or disagreeable, if regards, to my question. What is my question? There's if you know if man is a high achiever when women stays at home. So that's my question. How can I do it? To make this a little bit more easier. So I'm gonna perform a pivot table. So what is a pivot table? Again, it's a way to play around with your variables in a way that can facilitate you in order to analyze it. So, how does that work? In your top menu, you are going to look for insert and then look for pivot table. There will be, a bottom here called pivot table. There you're going to click on it and you're going to select, your table. Here, it's going to select my 3 variables, ID, age, and for fun. For the pivot table to work, you need to have all those labels, right? And you need to, include the labels in your first line all the way to the end of your data set. Okay. In my case, it's going to be line 326 until column C. So I can create, all those columns. Imagine that I don't want a new spreadsheet, right? I just want an existing, I want to place my spreadsheet in this existing sheet. So I'm gonna hit, existing sheet, and I'm gonna tell them or tell the Excel where I want to have my spreadsheet. Imagine that I want, on um, P, column P, line 4. Okay, so I'm gonna place them here in this area, in this blanket area, and then press OK. After that, it's gonna create this possibility. See that on the top of my my pivot table, I have ID, age, and FIFO. What I want to do, I want to break it down all my respondents. So I'm going to click on it, but my respondents will be lines. So I'm going to move, my respondents to line because I want to know which which individuals answer what. Okay, and what else? I'm gonna look for age. Age is gonna be my main variable, right? So I'm gonna click on age. It's gonna appear age here and values here. So I'm gonna maintain this there because this is what is important for me. And then my column for fun. For fun, I'm just gonna utilize, agree or disagree, but I'm gonna move to columns because I want to know who exactly answered agree and who exactly answered disagree, right? So, and then I created here, if I just click this off, then I exactly created my new sample to be compared. It's exactly the one that we have in your example, right? And how can I perform the t-test? Right now, I'm gonna make use of your data analysis tool pack. Where do I find it? I'm gonna find it going again at the top of your menu. You're gonna look for data, click on data here, and towards to the end of the menu, right hand side, you're gonna find, the data analysis tool pack. You're gonna click on it, and it's gonna pop up, this beautiful, box or window. And here you can find all the possibilities, to analyze your data. Okay, imagine that I want to perform my t-test. And I want to perform my t-test with an equal variance, right? Because they have different samples, right? We have different samples. Um, and then I'm going to click on OK. And from OK, they're going to ask, who's going to be your first variable? So my first variable is going to be agree. So I'm going to go ahead and look for my label and click all the way down in my database. So 330 again. And who's going to be my second variable? It's going to be disagree, and I will perform the same thing. And third, it's going to ask my hypothesis if there is any main difference from my hypothesis. And I'm going to say there is no difference. That's going to be my main hypothesis. Age-wise, there will be no difference, with regards to that specific situation, right? To that specific question. And then here you're gonna find, my level of significance. That is the alpha, right? And you're gonna place 0.05, which is basically five. I'm gonna have 5% of certainty that this hypothesis is gonna be accepted or rejected. Okay, and imagine that my output's gonna be in the same spreadsheet. So I'm gonna place them here. In this case, I'm gonna change a little bit here. I'm gonna place them close to, you know, to my database, right next to it, and then I can click on OK. Here we go. It's gonna take a little bit, and yes, so here is my outcome. And see here, my p-test, that's the most important variable that we want to look for, right? So my p-test basically means if it's below, 5%, it means there is significant difference, into the mean. So basically, I'm rejecting my hypothesis of zero difference. If it's above 5%, then I am accepting my hypothesis. Basically, there's no difference, significant difference, or statistical difference into those means. Okay? Yes, so that's how you're gonna try to do it into your assignment. So fear not, just go step by step, slowly, so you can perform this correctly. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, and if you have any doubts, please feel free to reach me out. All right, bye.